Good evening and welcome to the Faith Fight Show. Thank you so much for joining with us tonight, for tuning in. We really do appreciate you for taking the time to join us tonight. I trust that you had a good week, and even though things may not have gone your way, the way that you would have probably wanted your week to go, you are still here and you are watching us. It means that you're alive and well, and we thank God for that, right? Everything happens for a reason. So before I move on further, I always ask you to please share the link, share the live. Someone out there needs to hear this testimony tonight. Somebody who probably they want to give up. They are fed up and they just don't know where to turn again. By you sharing the live, someone would be able rather to see and hear this testimony and realize that yes, there is hope for me and I can do this, right? So just please, I ask that you share the live, and so that someone will be inspired. So before I introduce my guest, I just wanted to share some symptoms of breast cancer. Now, December month, there isn't really any observation of any cancers, but the show must go on, right? So I have a breast cancer survivor with me here tonight, and before we start our testimony, I want to share some symptoms of breast cancer. And I did some research from the CDC's website. And I also believe that it's very important that we educate ourselves on certain things, So on doing that, we could have early detection and maybe early diagnosis rather than a late diagnosis. So it's very important to know what is going on with your body. So first symptom. Sometimes you may feel a lump in your breast or under your arm. So, if you feel that lump, as a woman, when that time of the month comes, sometimes we feel lumps in our breasts and then they go. But then sometimes, like in my instance, I felt a lump and it was not going. So I got screened. Another symptom is swelling of the breast. Again, during that time of the month, our breast sometimes becomes swollen, but yet it goes away. But again, if it doesn't go away, please get screened. You may also see redness or flaky skin, sometimes a rash, and constant pain. Once it is there all the time, sometimes it goes, it comes, it goes, or it's there all the time, please get screened. And like my first guest said, Sky, she had a fever in her breast. Only in her breast she had a fever, and she ignored it. So please do not ignore what your body is telling you. Get screened, okay? So there are many more symptoms, but that's just a few of the main ones, that some women experience, right? So without further ado, my next guest is pretty vibrant. She is a beautiful soul. She is a fighter. Everybody's a fighter in my book. You go through something, you're a fighter. She is a woman she perseveres whatever she's going through, and she is a breast cancer survivor, and she is none other than Miss Nakisha Caliste, also known as Keisha. So Keisha, hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the Faith Fight Show. And I just thank you so much for being here with us tonight, for agreeing to do this interview. I really salute you for what you are doing.
Thank you
So
for having me.
welcome. So normally when I start, I like to ask my guests to tell me a little about themselves. So who is Keisha? I know you as Keisha, right? So who is Keisha? Who is Keisha Caliste?
Someone shy.
Shy.
Shy. kind of quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's me. I'm shy. I'm quiet.
But
I
Keisha,
still know-
I saw you modeling one time, that is and you were so good.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
All right, okay.
That's your opinion.
Okay,
I was
okay.
very, very nervous,
Uh-huh.
but I said, you know what? Just do it.
Well, you fooled me.
Just do it. And I had a lot of encouragement from you
Right.
and the rest of the team, and it was fun.
Right, cool, cool. So
But-
Keisha, I'm picking up an accent, but I know you're Trini. Tell me a little bit.
Okay, well, I was born here,
Okay.
and I moved away as a child, and as an adult, I'm back and loving it.
Okay, and how long have you been back in Trini?
A little over 3 years.
Okay, great, great, great. Nice. So, Keisha, let's dive into your story.
Okay.
You were diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yes.
And when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in August of 2018.
Okay.
I felt a lump,
Right.
one of
okay.
the most common symptoms that you mentioned.
Right, right.
And at first, I just figured, small little thing, and
Mhm.
I realized it wasn't going away.
Right.
So I got checked, and the usual steps: ultrasound, mammogram,
Mhm.
biopsy, CT scan. And then they say, okay, yes, you're positive. So then we take other steps.
Okay.
So
And were they able to tell you what stage it was at the time?
not really.
Okay.
Not till they
After.
after
All right.
they
Okay.
did the surgery, and they stemmed it out. Then they could be for sure
Right.
what stage it is.
And how old were you at that time?
38.
Wow. Wow. So you see, guys, a lot of women, we always hear that, when women reach the age of 40, they're advised to go get screened and get your mammograms done. But a lot of women that I know personally were diagnosed with breast cancer in their 30s. I even heard of a young woman, she's in her 20s, and she was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. So I know if you're getting these symptoms and you're under 40 years and you're thinking it can't happen to me, I would still encourage you to get checked out and get screened. So Keisha, you were 38 at the time. Wasn't expecting that. How did you feel? I mean, what were you thinking?
I felt shock because I'm a person that keeps up with my appointments.
Right.
I'm on time for my screenings. I had a mammogram and an ultrasound done, and I was shocked. I was upset. I was mad. I was angry because I
Right.
didn't understand how could this happen to me.
Yeah.
Somebody that's always on top of their appointments. Shock.
Wow. And is there any family history of
No.
cancer? Wow. And that's another thing, guys. One of the things people may think, but it's actually a myth, that you have to have a family history of cancer for you to be diagnosed. That's not true. As you heard Keisha, as far as she could probably think, there's nobody in her family with cancer. And even as for me, Keisha, we tried to trace back as far as we could have, and there was nobody that we could have think of with cancer. So it's not always hereditary, okay, viewers? So tell me about what is the next step that you took after being diagnosed? Did you go to the hospital, or what hospital did you go to? What did they want to do? What was the next step?
So I did go to Mount Hope Hospital, and I had a CT scan, and they
Okay.
said it looked like it spread. They
Oh.
were not 100% sure.
Right.
And they proceeded to say, well, we're going to have to remove the breast.
Okay.
So, like I like I recall, I saw his lips moving, but it wasn't really registering what he was saying to me fully.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I kind of went into my own head, and the words came out of my mouth. Well, if it have to come off, it have to come off.
Yeah.
And when I got home, I was like, what is wrong with you?
I took it to yourself now.
So
yeah.
I had a little self-talk and
Yeah.
Decided that I was not ready to take that step without a second opinion.
Oh, okay.
And they had already started scheduling me for surgery
Right.
beginning of the following week. And I told them that I wasn't ready to do surgery. I needed a second opinion, and I got a second opinion, and that doctor said, no, you don't have to remove it. We could just do a lumpectomy, which is just removing the lump from the breast. So that's what I end up doing.
All right. Okay. So you needed some time to process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes we do need some time to process all that is happening, because when you're diagnosed with cancer, you can't really wait to do the next step,
Correct.
because some cancers, it's aggressive.
Yes.
But then at the same time, all these decisions you have to make one time, it really overwhelms you as an individual, because you're not expecting to be diagnosed, number one.
That's true.
And then now surgery, they're telling you to remove your breast, and as you said, you just seen his lips moving. But you just say, okay, well, whatever, you know. But when you went home and you really sat down and it sank in, you needed a second opinion.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And thank God I did.
Yeah, thank God you did. So after the lumpectomy, what happened next? Did you do chemo or what?
I did chemo. I did 6 cycles of chemo.
Okay.
And then I had to have 11 cycles of Herceptin, the injection, after. And I did radiation Monday to Friday for 3 weeks straight.
And where did you do that?
At St. James.
Okay, all right, okay. And how did you feel physically while doing chemo? Because I know everybody's experience is different. Some feel sick, some don't. Some lose their hair, some they don't lose their hair. How did it work out for you?
Well, I definitely lost the hair.
Oh, all right.
I lost the hair after like the 2nd cycle.
Oh, wow.
But as far as feeling sick, I heard so many scary symptoms and side effects. Thank God that I did not experience a lot of that.
Okay.
A little nausea here and there, lost my appetite here and there, but for the most part, I had energy. I was still doing stuff around the house. I felt pretty good considering what I was going through.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And losing your hair as a young woman, I know for me, at one point in time, I had just taken a shower, come out, and when I combed my hair, I had long hair. And when I combed my hair, a big patch came out. And like, it was dropping before, you know, but like at that moment, reality hit me. And I felt ugly, unattractive, and I sat down on the bed and I started to cry, with the ball of hair right next to me on the bed. How did you feel losing your hair as a young woman?
I have a similar story to you. Even though I knew that the hair would come out, and I was trying to prepare my mind, I came out the shower, combing my hair, and a chunk came out. I said, okay, put it in the sink. Another chunk came out, put it in the sink. I just looked at myself in the mirror and I called my sister.
Yeah.
And I was in tears, and she was like, I told you it was going to happen, because my family said just take it off before it even get to that point. But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to just take it off. So she comforted me, and I felt better after. And at some point I did cut it low, but it was still coming out. And then finally I said, all right, I'm ready, and I just went bald. I sat in the barber chair, and I fought back the tears, but I just went bald.
Wow. Wow.
That's my wall.
Strong, yeah. It's a lot of things we go through, yeah, because I remember at that time too, same thing. My hair was long, but I chose to leave it long.
Mm-hmm.
When it started to drop, I chip it a little bit, you know, I just like, I know it's going to happen, but yet, I don't know if it was in denial or, I don't know.
It's like you have to work yourself up
Yeah,
to just
yeah.
doing
You
it.
can't just
So
go
just
one
baby
time
steps.
to, yeah, yeah. Because I remember too, as I told you, I was crying on the bed, and my husband came in at the same time, so he catch me crying, right? And he asked me what happened, and I told him, I showed him the hair still there on the bed, you know. And I told him I'm feeling so ugly and unattractive as a young woman, because I was 31. 30, yeah, 31, yeah, 31. And he sat down beside me and he held me and he reassured me I'm still beautiful and that kind of thing. And that is the kind of support we need as cancer survivors or whatever you're going through. You always need support. And you got that from your sister.
Yes.
You were able to call her one time and she was able to help you go through that little moment, you know. So how is support for you?
Amazing. If I did not have the support of my family here in Trinidad and abroad,
Right.
I really don't think I would have made it the best way that I did.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
very important.
Support is very important, and having a positive mindset. It's hard,
It
you know,
is,
but it has to be like you have to set your mind, because you're gonna have to fight, and you're gonna have to fight very, very
Exactly,
hard.
because at the end of the day, you know, yes, you have the support, which is very good, but at the end of the day, it boils down to you, the individual. You have to make up your mind to push through and fight, because yes, you have your support holding you up, you know, but I don't know, you are the one. You have to take those steps to surviving, you know. And which is why I believe that from the time that we are diagnosed, our minds and our body goes into a survival mode. So I don't like to say when a cancer patient is in remission, they're a survivor. I believe you are a survivor from the time you are diagnosed.
I agree.
Because it's a fight, you're surviving, you have low points, you have high points, and you just had to make up your mind to push through and survive, you know. And which brings me to my next question. So Keisha, tell me, were there any other obstacles that you faced while doing your treatment? I know some of these treatments can cause certain changes in our bodies. I know for one, I have been through a lot of changes physically, and I wasn't expecting it to happen, you know, and it just came upon me and I had to learn how to deal with it. Anything like that happened to you?
Well, one of the questions that the oncologist asked me in my consultation was, did I plan on having any more children?
Oh.
Not really, but I wasn't ruling it out.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons he was asking is because he said with the chemo and stuff like that, it could make you fertile. Infertile.
Yeah.
And I may not be able to have any more children. So that was another decision that I had to kind of think about and make a decision.
Yeah.
Also, it sent me into premenopause.
Yeah.
So on top of
at 38, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
On top of everything, hormones are out of whack. I could be in an air-conditioned room and I am dripping wet, you know. So that was something very unexpected.
Yeah.
But I dealt with it the best way. I just made sure I had something to
Oh gosh.
So that was an obstacle that
Right.
I would say I wasn't prepared for.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, but yet it happened and
happened.
you had to deal with it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, are you on any medication right now? Like maintenance?
Right now,
medication?
yes. Right now, it's the tamoxifen,
Okay.
which is it's part of hormone therapy.
Right.
Which I would have to be on for 5 years. So I have like almost 3 years to go.
Still, right?
So, and that messes with the hormones as well.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
hormone
it
therapy.
does.
So it
Yeah.
has your hormones all out of whack, and you just take each day as it comes.
Yeah. And mentally, how did you deal? I mean,
I had my days.
Yeah.
I had my
Explain.
nights.
Yeah.
Well,
Give me the details.
the crying,
Yeah.
mainly the crying, a lot of negative thoughts. You know, anytime something tragic happens, we automatically think the worst.
Yeah.
It's just human nature. And so I've had my bouts of just where my brain just goes to thinking the worst, and then I have to remind myself that I'm alive.
Yeah.
And I need to just take each step as it comes and not jump too far ahead and think too far ahead, because that's what makes you stress.
Yeah.
And stress is a big factor
Yeah.
in our diagnosis.
Yeah.
It can escalate whatever is happening in our body.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
just prayed. I did a lot.
Very important.
A lot of praying.
Most important, yeah.
I called family members, friends, and that was my support, and that helped a lot.
Yeah.
That helped a lot.
Because I too remembered being in that place many times. You always have your down days, and you're just feeling to cry, and premenopausal too, eh? So you know the moods all over the place.
Yes.
Sometimes I just feeling to cry, and it's like, why? You know? And then there were times when I had reason to feel how I was feeling. Sometimes depressed and fed up, and I just had to bring myself and say, hey, Candice, no, you can't dwell in this place. You have to come out. Yes, it's our human nature to feel that way, but in order to move on and to beat this cancer, you have to come out of this negativity, you know. And that is one thing I always tell people when I'm sharing my story. It's okay to feel that way, but you can't stay there in that place, because you're going to only make things worse. Yeah, only going to make things worse. So Keisha, tell me a little bit more about the surgery you did. You say you did a lumpectomy. What is a lumpectomy?
Okay. So they scheduled me for surgery at the hospital to remove the lump. Instead of removing the whole breast, mastectomy. Right. The lumpectomy is where they just remove the lump. So they scheduled me for surgery, and I remember being very, very nervous, packing my bag, you know, to go.
Yeah.
And while I'm waiting for for them to take me to the operating room and prep and everything, one of the hospital staff calls me, take me into a room, starts making marks with a Sharpie marker. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
And I just started crying.
Yeah.
You know, I'm standing there and they're making all these marks, and
it's like a reality hit you there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like I knew that the surgery day was coming, but it wasn't until they started making those marks all over my breast, that on both breasts, because I didn't want to have one small one and one big one.
Okay.
So they did a reduction on the other breast.
Okay.
So now they're marking both breasts.
Right.
And as they're making these marks, like you said, that's when everything just like hit, and I just burst out into tears. And the staff was really nice. She was like, it's okay, don't cry. And you know, and I started to kind of shiver a little bit, and she put a sheet over me, and and the doctor came in, and the tears started coming some more. And I was like, all right, you could do this, and he was very, very helpful as well, very encouraging.
Right.
And they wheeled me in. And all I remember them saying, just count back from like 5 down to 1. I think I might have got to 3, and
that was it.
Wow. About maybe 3 hours later, I woke up back in my hospital room in the bed with all these bandages. I mean, it was it was a lot of bandages, like scary looking bandages.
Seeing that, what? Cry some more?
So surprisingly, I did not cry. I was too drugged up to cry. Right. I was too drugged up and tired to cry. But I noticed that I had like a tube coming out the side, and I'm like, what is this?
Those train bags,
you know? And the tube, you know, it's draining the fluid, and part of that fluid is blood. So now it's like, it's kind of scary. You know, but yes, that was like
one of those breaking points for you. You're preparing, yes, but when the time actually reached and you're in the situation now, it's like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. So that leads me to my next question. You said the doctors and the staff were really nice. They helped you through it.
Yes.
How would you say was the whole process being in the medical institutions in Trinidad? You know, we have those hospitals sometimes have bad names. You hear stories. How was your experience?
I must say that I am pleased personally. I have heard horror stories. But the treatment that I received, I can't complain. You know, it was better than I expected, because I've heard so many horror stories that I was preparing myself to be one of those horror stories.
Yes.
And I was pleased. You know, they were friendly, courteous, compassionate, very supportive. You know, so
that's good.
I was pleased.
Good, right. So, Keisha, you said you had a lot of support from your family.
Yes.
Tell me, did you get any support from the hospital in any way? Like, I know some hospitals have groups. Were you any part of any of those groups? Or?
Yes, there was a trial run of a support group. And I'm glad I accepted. I have a tendency to kind of get scared and shy away from things.
Right.
But I decided to just do it. And I learned a lot from the group. It wasn't a very big group.
Right.
And it wasn't just for patients or survivors, family members too, that are caring for you and helping you.
Right.
They were also there because they need to hear some of the things that you are going through, some of the things you will be going through, to help you cope. And one of the things that the instructor was stressing is, don't be afraid to accept help. Don't be afraid to let the friend, the family member, whoever it is that's there for you, don't be afraid to let them know, okay, well, I know that you're trying to help me right now, but that's really not helping me.
Right.
So some of us tend to just go into our own head and our own space and be afraid because the person is there trying to help us. So we don't want to offend them.
Offend them,
So that was one of the major things that stuck with me.
Right.
Is to don't be afraid to express your feelings and let them know, listen, I know you're trying to help, but that's not helping me right now.
Right.
And don't be afraid to cut people off that's not being productive to your progress in a positive way. In a positive way.
Right.
And it was really nice just to see some of the caregivers there, you know, just being supportive.
Yeah.
On one of those sessions, I had my daughter with me, and I was very, very happy that she came, because she also got to hear stories of other patients and things that would help me and things that would not help me.
Right, yeah.
So I thought that was very important, and they did not do the group again, which was very disappointing.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that they will start back up another group, you know, because it was very, very helpful.
Especially how they include the caregivers.
Yes.
Because we have a lot of groups and they're mostly for survivors or patients who are going through the whole cancer journey, but never for really caregivers. And sometimes we tend to forget about the caregivers.
Yes.
And they are in this fight as much as you are. You know, they are the ones that behind your back, they in front, they at the side, wherever. You know, because I thank God for my family. You know, they were there for me, they still are. And just knowing that a group they had family caregivers in the group, because some caregivers now, they are new to this too, you know, just how we were shocked when we were diagnosed. They wasn't expecting it either.
And they don't know how to handle it.
How to cope. And I think that's a really good idea, to have a group which includes caregivers as well, because as you say, sometimes you don't want to tell your caregiver, okay, this is not working. I know you're trying to help, but it's not working, without offending them. And I'm guessing that, you know, when a whole bunch of people come together to talk and share how they feel, the caregivers, they would know, well, okay, maybe I need to be a little more, you know, patient, or as a survivor for me, I need to, you know, what's the word I'm trying to find? It was hard for me to accept help, as you said, because I'm accustomed doing things myself, you know, and the smallest chore or something that was difficult for me to do, I had a hard time having someone else do it for me, you know, and I had to deal with that too. So yes, we can relate, and I like that idea, having a group for caregivers so they could share their stories and help each other as well to cope. You know, because sometimes they may not be always able to talk to someone, and they might not even want to talk to you because you already have your thing going on. They don't want to burden you more with how they are feeling. So I think that's a really good idea, to include caregivers in a cancer support group.
Yes, because we're all in it together.
Yeah,
you know?
True.
Okay.
So Keisha, I know there's something called chemo brain. Now, not everybody they never heard it before. Some heard it already. Some only heard about it when it happened to them. And I, for one, experienced chemo brain. Sometimes I still do experience it. And did you ever experience what they call chemo brain?
Yes. At the time, I didn't know that that's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm a person that I used to forget anyway. So I would set everything in my phone. I would write it down numerous times so it would stick. And I remember I had an appointment coming up. And I kept asking myself, when is my appointment? Looked at my phone. I said, okay. And I still end up mixing up my appointment. I went to my appointment and it wasn't until the following day.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why or what was happening.
Yeah.
And that was a day of tears.
Tears again.
Tears again. And I realized that it still happens. I don't know how long it's supposed to last, if it's a forever thing, if it goes away after some years, but I still experience it. Someone will be talking to me and I wouldn't register, like what they're saying wouldn't really register right away. Sometimes it don't register at all. But I do tend to forget things, and I may ask you, what did you say again? So it's something. It's real.
Yeah,
it's real.
Brain is real, guys. It's something that chemo brain, right? It has something to do with chemotherapy. It's after effect of chemotherapy where you tend to forget. That's one of the side effects of the chemo. So if you're not into the habit of forgetting before, now after chemo you have a tendency to forget a lot of things. Sometimes you ask somebody something and they give you the answer, and a few seconds after, what did you say? You can't remember. Sometimes it also affects your motor skills. For me, Keisha, sometimes there would be times where I would just I'll pick up something and it will just fall, and it's like, why am I being so clumsy? And then I would think, it's chemo brain, so that in itself I believe is something that we have to deal with. Research says it lasts for a couple of months, a few years, but I still waiting for my chemo brain to leave. Keisha, still waiting for chemo brain to leave. And we know quite a few persons who experience the same as well.
And as you mentioned, the picking up things and then it's just falling. I've been experiencing that a little bit more recent. And I never thought about it as being chemo brain. I just figured, like you, I'm just clumsy. a little clumsy today. I'm just a little off. And I do have days where I feel off. I feel off balanced and tired.
Yes, that's the next thing.
This is also something else that need to be talked about in support groups with caregivers, so that way when this is happening, they'll understand and know, okay, I know what it is, I know how to deal with it, I know how to give them some comfort, whether I comfort them, I give them a little space. So as you say that, I'm just now thinking back. I never thought that's what it was.
Because sometimes before I would set out what I have to do for the day, and I would accomplish, if not everything, most of the tasks on the list. Now I can't do that. As young as I am, I can't do it, and I would still sometimes set out, okay, I'll do this now, I'll do this, and by the time I reach not very far on the list, I would get tired and I just not feeling to do it. And sometimes I used to tell myself, Candy, why are you being so lazy? I used to kind of scold myself. But then I come to realize this is how I feeling, and I need to stop and rest, because sometimes I would get little anxiety attacks. I just get impatient and I start to sweat and I just want to sit down and heart pounding, and okay, Candy, just finish what you do now and stop. And all that is part of the chemo brain, and it has slowed me down. It has taught me to slow down too in life. You can't do everything one time. You do what you're able to and you leave the rest for another time. So
and that's something that as women I think we just struggle with anyway, because we're just so used to just doing everything, being super women, and now we're being forced to just tell ourselves, no, you can't be superwoman. You need to take care of yourself and just
take care of yourself. Exactly. We're busy taking care of everybody else
and put ourselves not finding on the back burner.
Time. So that's very important to viewers. Self-care, we always hear about it. Self-care is very important. Always take the time to make time for yourself.
Listen to your body.
Relax. And Keisha said it, listen to your body when it's giving you signs. Take care of yourself and life will work out,
Yes,
it does work out.
Look at us.
Yes, look at us. It works out. So self-care is very important.
Yes, it is.
So finally, Keisha, I always like to ask my guests to give some words of wisdom, advice to our viewers. You know, whoever is looking out there, I'm sure that they heard your story. They can probably relate somehow to some of the things you went through. What advice would you give to our viewers tonight? Just look into the camera, you know, and just share.
The number one thing that I've heard from other survivors is that they think that they're going to die. Cancer does not equal death. Like any other sickness, you can push through, you can make it, but you have to set your mind that that's what you are going to do. And having a support system is very important. Praying, I should have said that first. Praying is number one. Having a support system, setting your mind, being positive. Your mindset is going to also determine how you make it. And just every morning that you wake up, just give thanks, because as long as you wake up, you could survive whatever comes for that day.
True.
You know, and just be thankful, you know, and just know that it's going to be a fight. And if you don't have a family support system, there's groups out there that you can look into and get the support from there. So, you know, that's my advice on pushing through and getting through, is that you have to just set your mind that you're going to fight, and that's that.
Fight.
That's it. You just have to fight.
Yes.
You know?
So viewers, one thing she mentioned is to give thanks. And she said that, you know, when you're awake in the morning, you give thanks because God woke you up for a reason, and whatever the day throws at you, you are going to make it because God woke you up. He woke you up to go through the day, and you're going to make it. You just have to persevere and, you know, just don't give up, right? Don't give up. You know, we are here for a purpose, and we are always blessed to be blessings. Keisha has shared with us her story, and I'm pretty sure that someone heard it and they are blessed, they are encouraged, they are inspired to hold on. Cancer is not a death sentence. She said that, right? It's not the end. You see how good, if cancer had a look, well, this is not it. So Keisha, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. I really did enjoy this time. I had fun. I hope you had fun too.
I did.
So thank you so much, and thank you viewers for again taking the time to just listen and look at us today and hear what Keisha had to say. We really appreciate you. Again, even after this video has ended, you can still share it so that someone will see it and they would hear the testimony, and they will be encouraged as well to never give up. So thanks once again for joining us. God bless you and keep you, and always remember, it's a faith fight.
It's not about how you started, it's about how you win. How you gonna win it? Remember when you started out with just one dream, resources could not be seen. Remember when you stayed up late at night trying to work out the in-betweens. Remember your passion, remember your drive, remember how you felt inside. Remember when you felt you could conquer the world and no mountain was too high. But now the storms have passed your way. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? And the sun didn't shine today. What you gonna do? Tell me what you gonna do? Enemy's assignment is to keep you down, bring you disappointments from all around. But greater is He that's inside of you. He'll help you to stand your ground. Push a little harder, go a little further, pray a little deeper, clinging to the keeper till you reach the finish line. Don't you stop till the devil bring all he got, 'cause you're ready. Don't you stop, don't you stop. Oh, don't you ever give up. You're ready. Don't you stop, don't you stop. You are born for it. Tell them you're ready. Don't you stop, don't you stop. Bring it on, bring it on. You're ready. Don't you stop, don't you stop. Keep pressing to the top. Remember the day when you risked everything just to make your dreams stay flat. Remember when people didn't understand your plans, but that was quite alright. Remember your mission, remember your vows, remember how you felt inside. Remember when you knew God had your back and He was gonna be your God. But now the storms have passed your way. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? And the sun didn't shine today. What you gonna do? Friend, what you gonna do? Listen to me. Nobody ever promised that the road was nice, and if your dreams gon' live, you gotta pay the price. You've got to know your friends from your foes. In hard times, your faith must rise. Push a little harder, go a little further, pray a little deeper, clinging to the keeper till you reach the finish line. Don't you stop till the devil bring all he got, 'cause you're ready. Don't stop, don't you stop. No, no, no. Don't you ever give up. You're ready. Don't you stop, don't you stop. You are born for this. You're ready. Don't you stop, don't you stop. No, no, no. Don't you ever give up. Tell them you're ready. Don't you stop, don't you stop. Oh. Keep pressing to the top. I know it's looking like your darkest day, but it's your finest hour. Child of a king, you better use that power. You're a go-getter, so you gotta go get it. Setbacks may come to distract, but don't let it when your knees grow weak. Your faith gotta speak, every promise gotta keep, every goal you gotta meet. Yeah, the doubters will doubt, but the giants will fall. Walk in your purpose, answer the call, and you can't go soft, gotta go hard. Can't go soft, gotta go hard. Push a little harder, go a little further, pray a little deeper, clinging to the keeper. When opportunity comes knocking at your door, you're ready.